Hi everybody. I'll be doing devotion number 3. It'll be from Matthew chapter 26, verses 57 to 75. And it says, Then those who had seized Jesus led him to Caiaphas, the high priest, where the scribes and the elders had gathered. And Peter was following him at the distance, as far as the courtyard of the high priest. And going inside, he sat with the guards to see the end. Now the chief priests and the whole council were seeking false testimony against Jesus, that might put him to death. But they found none. Though many false witnesses came forward, at last 2 came forward, and said, This man said, I am able to destroy the temple of God and rebuild it in 3 days. And the high priest stood up and said, Have you no answer to make? What is it that these men testify against you? But Jesus remained silent, and the high priest said to him, I adjure you by the living God, tell us if you are the Christ, the Son of God. Jesus said to him, You have said so. But I tell you, from now on you will see the Son of Man seated at the right hand of power, and coming on the clouds of heaven. Then the high priest tore his robes and said, He has uttered blasphemy. What further witnesses do we need? You have now heard his blasphemy. What is your judgment? They answered, He deserves death. Then they spit in his face and struck him, then slapped him, saying, Prophesy to us, and you, Jesus, who is it that struck you? Now Peter was sitting outside in the courtyard, and the servant girl came up to him and said, You also were Jesus of Galilee. But he denied it before them all, saying, I do not know what you mean. And when he went out to the entrance, another servant girl saw him, and said to the bystanders, This man was with Jesus of Nazareth. And again he denied it with an oath, I do not know the man. After a little while, the bystanders came up and said to Peter, Certainly you too are one of them, for your accent betrays you. Then he began to invoke a curse on himself, and to swear, I do not know the man. And immediately the rooster crowed. And Peter remembered the saying of Jesus, Before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times. And he went out and wept bitterly. When I was looking at these verses, it kind of cut as 2 separate sections. It looked at Jesus' sacrifice for what he was saying, and also for Peter's fear. First part, I wanted to highlight verse 64, where Jesus really pronounced and he says that he will be in the right hand of the Father, and he will be the Son of Man. And Jesus knew the repercussions of what he was going to say and what it represented. And he did it for us. He did it because he loved us. And even with loving us and knowing he would go to be crucified, we see Peter's response to that, which is fear. And his fear represents us trusting God, and us not even being able to represent God in public. And it's something that I know I personally even struggle with. When approaching Easter this week, I think it's super easy to forget the significance of Easter. I know I'm even distracted when it comes to what's going on with coronavirus and what's happening in our daily lives, and just the uncertainty and the fear. We tend to forget the importance and the sacrifice that God was willing to give to us and let his own son die just to have a personal relationship with us. And I just think that's super critical to remember at this time, and to remember that he did it for us, and our little worries and the concerns that we're having now, we have to trust in the Lord. So I would like to pray for now. Dear God, thank you so much for being here with us. Thank you for giving your son for us who are people who sin constantly and who even forget sometimes the importance of what you gave to us. Let's have a daily reminder and a consistent reminder, not just this week, but the rest of the year, of the sacrifice that you were willing to give us just to have a relationship with us, Lord. And thank you so much for giving it to us and letting us have this opportunity, and we will take it and become disciples for you, Lord. Amen. Have a great week, you guys.